Hola, buenos días. Me llamo David. Hi everyone, my name is Dave. Este es mi amigo Roberto, el oso bilingüe. This is my friend Roberto, a bilingual bear. Roberto es muy tímido, así que cuando tiene algo que decir, susurra en la oreja y entonces repito a ustedes. He's very shy, so when he has something to say, he'll let me know and whisper in my ear, and then I can tell you what he's saying. And I think he has something to say. Porque estamos aquí. What are we doing here? Oh, Roberto, we're going to give a little story hour, and you're going to help, okay? Muy bien, dice muy bien. He said, good. He's anxious to help. Let's start out with a little song, get us warmed up, okay? You know the more we get together? Sure. The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be when your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. And let's sing together. The more we sing together, the more we sing together, the happier we'll be when your songs are my songs and my songs are your songs. The more we sing together, the happier we'll be. And let's do read. The more we read together, the more we read together, the happier we'll be when your books are my books and my books are your books. The more we read together, the happier we'll be. And I'm going to start out with one of my favorite books called Fortunately. Fortunately, one day, Ned got a letter that said, please come to a surprise party. But unfortunately, the party was in Florida and he was in New York. Fortunately, a friend loaned him an airplane. But unfortunately, the motor exploded. Fortunately, there was a parachute in the plane. But unfortunately, there was a hole in the parachute. However, fortunately, there was a haystack on the ground. Unfortunately, there was a pitchfork in the haystack. Fortunately, he missed the pitchfork. Unfortunately, he also missed the haystack. Fortunately, he landed in the water. Unfortunately, there were sharks in the water. However, fortunately, he knew how to swim. Unfortunately, there were tigers on the land. Fortunately, he could run. Unfortunately, he ran into a deep, dark cave. Fortunately, he could dig. Unfortunately, he dug himself into a fancy ballroom. But fortunately, there was a surprise party going on, and fortunately, the party was for him because fortunately, it was his birthday. The end. Okay, Roberto. We're going to do 5 little ducks, if you know that one. What? ¿Por qué no hacemos 5 ositos? Why don't we do 5 little bears? He said. Yeah, not this time. Okay, maybe later. 5 patitos, 5 little ducks. So you got 5 right here. Hold up a hand, 5 fingers. 5 little ducks went out one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 4 little ducks came back. So 4 little ducks went out one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 3 little ducks came back. So 3 little ducks went out one day over the hills and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 2 little ducks came back. 2 little ducks went out one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 1 little duck came back. One little duck went out one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said, quack, 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 but none of the 5 little ducks came back. So sad Mother duck went out one day over the hill and far away. And then she said, quack, 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 and all of the 5 little ducks came back. All right. My next story, we're going to sing this one. You can sing along with me if you know this. Where, oh, where has my little dog gone? Oh, where has my little dog gone? Oh, where can he be? With his ears cut short and his tail cut long. Oh, where can he be? Perhaps I shouldn't have scolded him when he chewed a hole in my shoe, but I had to teach my dog right from wrong. What else was I going to do? His feelings might have been terribly hurt. His heart was filled with dismay, so he packed his bowl and his favorite toy. And then my dog ran away. He took a bus that was headed for town. A tourist he thought he would be, but he never got past the rushing crowds, and not one sight did he see. I think I'll go to the mountains, he said, and climb to my heart's content, but he lost his grip on the icy slope, and back down the mountain he went. So next he thought he would surf in the sea. He'd never tried it before, but a giant wave knocked him off his feet and threw him back to the shore. I'd rather hike in the desert, he said. It's warm and peaceful out there, but he tripped and fell on a rattlesnake and gave them both quite a scare. A cowboy's life is exciting, he heard. A rodeo could be fun, but the horse he rode pitched him into the dirt. My dog was glad to be done. I'm tired, he said. I'll go sleep in a cave. How snug and cozy I'll be, but he didn't know that a big brown bear would keep him company. Now my doggie was hungry and weak. The sun was setting so low. He longed to eat and he longed to sleep, but he had no place to go. And then he thought of his warm, loving home, the place he most wished to be, with a wagging tail and a joyful heart. He ran right back home to me. What great adventures my little dog had, while roaming so far away, though he learned a lot and is wiser now. I think he's come home to stay. All right, Roberto, ¿te gustó este cuentito? Did you like that story? Dice que sí porque tuve un oso. He said yes, because it had a bear in it. He always goes for bear stories. All right, let's see here. We need to get up and do a little movement. We're going to do some swinging, okay? Pretend you're in a swing at the park. We're going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm going to say a little poem to help us along here. Oh, how do you like to go up in a swing? Up in the air so high? Oh, I do think it's the pleasantest thing ever a child can do. Up in the air and over the wall till I can see so wide, rivers and trees and cattle and all, over the countryside till I look down on the garden green, down on the roof so brown, and up in the air I go flying again, up in the air and down. ¿Te gustó? Me pregunta cuándo puede ir al parque. He wants to know when he can go to the park. Mañana, okay, we'll go tomorrow. The last one for today, this is kind of a long one, but I'm sure you've heard this story. Jack and the Beanstalk. There was once upon a time a poor widow who had an only son named Jack and a cow named Milky White, and all they had to live on was the milk the cow gave every morning, which they carried to the market and sold. But one morning, Milky White gave no milk, and they didn't know what to do. "Cheer up, Mother, I'll go get to work somewhere," said Jack. "We've tried that before, and nobody would take you," cried his mother. "We must sell Milky White, and with the money start a shop or something." On his way to market, Jack met a funny-looking old man. "Well, good morning, Jack," said he. "Good morning to you," said Jack, and he wondered how the man knew his name. Can you tell me how many beans make 5, said the man. "2 in each hand and 1 in your mouth," Jack said, sharp as a needle. "Right," said the man, "and as you are such a bright lad, I don't mind doing a swap with you. Your cow for these beans." "Oh, go along," said Jack. "Oh, but these are magical beans," said the man. "If you plant them tonight, by morning they go right up to the sky." "Really?" said Jack. "Yes, and if it doesn't turn out to be true, well, then you can have your cow." "Back already, Jack?" said his mother. "Tell me, how much did you get for Milky White?" "You'll never guess, Mother." "Could it be 5 pounds, 10, 15? No," she cried. "Could it be 20? I knew you couldn't guess. What do you say to these magical beans? I'm going to plant them tonight and—" "What?" said Jack's mother. "Have you been such a dolt, such an idiot, as to give away my Milky White, the best milker in the parish, for a set of paltry beans? Off with you, to bed. And as for your precious beans, here they go out the window." And she threw them out the window. So Jack went upstairs to his little room in the attic, and sad and sorry he was, to be sure, as much for his mother's sake as for the loss of his supper. At last he dropped off to sleep. And when Jack woke up, he saw that the beans had sprung up into a big beanstalk that went up and up and up and up until it reached the sky. So the old man spoke the truth after all. Jack gave a jump onto the beanstalk, and he climbed and he climbed. Help him climb, will you? Climbed and he climbed and he climbed and he climbed way up until at last he had reached the sky. Jack walked along and he walked along and he walked along until he came to a great big tall house. On the doorstep was a great big tall woman. "Good morning, Mum," said Jack. "Could you be so kind as to give me some breakfast?" "It's breakfast you want, is it?" said the great big tall woman. "It's breakfast you'll be if you don't move on. My man is an ogre, and there's nothing he likes better than broiled boys on toast." "Oh, please, Mum," cried Jack. "I've had nothing to eat since yesterday morning, and really and truly, I may as well be broiled as die of hunger." Well, the ogre's wife was not half so bad after all, and she took Jack into the kitchen and gave him some bread and cheese, when all of a sudden, thump, 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 the whole house began to shake and tremble with the noise of someone coming. "Goodness gracious me," said the ogre's wife. "Come along, quick!" And she bundled Jack into the oven just as the ogre came in. He was a big one and ugly, to be sure. "Wife," he said, "what's this I smell?" "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make me bread." "Oh, nonsense, dear," said his wife. "You're dreaming. Or perhaps you smell the scraps of that boy who you liked so much for yesterday's dinner. Here, you go and have a wash and tidy up a bit, and by the time you come back, those calves will be broiled for your breakfast." Well, the ogre had his breakfast, and after that he went to a big chest and took out a couple of bags of gold. And down he sat and counted. At last his head began to nod, and he began to snore until the whole house shook again. And then Jack crept out of the oven, grabbed a bag of gold, and was off before you could say Jack Robinson. When Jack came down the beanstalk, he threw down the gold, which of course fell into his mother's garden. And then Jack climbed down. "Well, Mother," he said, "wasn't I right about the beans? They were really magical, you see." So they lived off the bag of gold for some time, but at last they came to the end of it, and Jack made up his mind to try his luck once more at the top of the beanstalk. One fine morning he woke up early and jumped onto the beanstalk, and he climbed. Let's help him climb. Climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed way up there. And at last he came to the top, and then he walked to the great big tall house he had been to before. And sure enough, there was the woman standing on the doorstep, that big tall woman, and she said, "Go away, boy, or else my man will eat you for breakfast." "Hey, but aren't you the youngster that came here once before? Do you know that very day my husband lost his bags of gold?" "Oh, that's strange, Mum," said Jack, bold as brass. "I dare say I could tell you something about that, but I'm so hungry I can't speak until I've had something to eat." Well, the big tall woman was so curious that she took him in again. And all happened as before. Thump, 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 they heard the ogre's footsteps, and his wife put Jack away in the oven. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." And after breakfast the ogre said, "Wife, bring me that hen that lays the golden egg." So she brought the hen in, and the ogre said, "Lay," and it laid an egg all of gold. Soon the ogre began to nod his head and snore till the house shook, and then Jack tiptoed out of the oven, grabbed the golden hen, and off he pelted. But this time the hen gave a cackle and woke up the ogre, and just as Jack got out of the house, he heard him roaring, "Wife, wife, what have you done with my golden hen?" When Jack got home, he showed his mother the wonderful hen and said, "Lay to it," and laid a golden egg every time he said that. Well, it wasn't very long before Jack decided that he needed to try his luck up the beanstalk one more time. And this time he knew better than to go straight to the ogre's house. When the big tall woman came out with a pail, he crept into the house and into the bread box. He hadn't been in there long when he heard thump, 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 fee, fi, fo, fum. "I smell a beloved Englishman. I smell him, wife, I smell him." "Oh, do you, dearie?" said the ogre's wife. "Well, this little rogue that stole your golden hen, he's sure to have got into the oven." And they both rushed to the oven, but Jack wasn't there. And the ogre's wife said, "There you are again with your fee, fi, fo, fum. Why, of course it's the boy you caught last night that I just broiled for your breakfast," she said. "How forgetful I am, and how careless you are not to know the difference between live and dead after all these years." "Well, I could have sworn," muttered the ogre, and he searched the larder and the cupboards and everything. Only luckily, he didn't think to look in the bread box. After his breakfast was over, the ogre called out, "Wife, bring me my golden harp." So she brought it, and he said, "Sing," and the golden harp sung most beautifully. And it went on singing until the ogre fell asleep and began to snore like thunder. And then Jack lifted the lid very quietly and crept like a mouse out on his hands and knees till he came to the table, and up he crawled and caught hold of the golden harp. But the harp called out, "Master, master," and the ogre woke up. Jack ran as fast as he could, and the ogre ran after. And when the ogre saw Jack climbing down for dear life, he swung himself onto the beanstalk, which shook with his weight, and down climbed Jack, and after him climbed the ogre. And Jack called out, "Mother, mother, bring an axe!" Jack's mother rushed out with the axe in her hand, and Jack gave a chop, and another chop, and a chop, and a chop, and finally he cut the beanstalk in two. The ogre fell down and broke his crown, and the beanstalk came tumbling after. What with showing the golden harp and selling the golden eggs, Jack and his mother became very rich, and Jack married a princess, and guess what? They all lived happily ever after. The end. Roberto dice adios. Roberto says goodbye. Hasta la próxima vez que venimos. Till the next time we come. Gracias.